from the UK. I'm Woodford Green Speakers. I'm Vice President of Education this year. Last year, because we're in District 91 and the division is K and the subdivision is K12. Last year I was the area director for K12, and the year before I was with the Vice President for Education. Again, so I've been with Toastmasters for about 4 years. I completed the old pathway, the old system of CC and CL, and now acquainting myself with the new pathways. Let's start all over again. But thank you.
Thanks so much, David. Welcome to Plateau Toastmasters Club. So we're a club in Mauritius, and we normally meet every first and third Tuesdays at a physical location. But now, since we're on lockdown, we have been meeting every Tuesdays as from 7 o'clock. And you're welcome to join us again every Tuesday if you so wish. And
Thank you.
I'll pass over now to our TME, who's none other than Pooja, and she has introduced us to a Wonderland, and she's going to take us through that Wonderland tonight. Over to you, TME.
Thank you, President. Fellow Toastmasters, dear guests, and dear friends. I hope you're all feeling great this evening. I must say you're all looking effulgent. My screen is beaming with smiles, and I am delighted to be your TME. So firstly, some housekeeping rules. Please keep your videos on so that we can see your effulgent smiles throughout the session. Mute yourself when you're not speaking. Make sure you have good connection so that the session goes smoothly. Please message me privately for voting. And finally, the special mission for tonight is all speakers have to be mesmerizing. That is, capture everyone's attention in a transfixing manner. So do we have any other guests apart from David? Sumaya, is your guest already here?
Hello everybody. She's not here because she's trying to log in, but she is having some internet issues. So we are trying to fix this, but hopefully she will be.
I think we just lost Sumaya as well. It's okay. We'll wait for the guest. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Pooja.
Yes,
I think it's a problem with Sumaya then. But we'll begin. We'll wait for the guest later on. So, dear Toastmasters, welcome to Wonderland. When you hear the word Wonderland, what do you think of? Anyone? Sorjan?
Well, when I hear Wonderland, think about magic, and when you think of magic, you think of Disney, and obviously when you think of Disney, you think of Alice in Wonderland.
Thank you. So, Alice in Wonderland. It's a story of a girl who disappears down a rabbit hole to a fantastic place full of adventures. And the moral behind the story is that Alice represents a child's struggle to survive in this confusing world of adults. So she goes down a rabbit hole, which is an escape to the real world. She enters a wonderland, a world with amazing adventures. The word wonderland can be interpreted in a lot of ways. The dictionary meaning is a place full of wonderful things. To me, this word is very much related to the current unprecedented times where it is dangerous to step outside the house. So for me, my new wonderland has been my home, where I feel safe and I feel secured and happy. I've been doing a lot of things that help me escape this world of stress and panic at the moment through my hobbies. I dance, I'm learning to play the tabla, I'm singing, I'm exercising. And when I do all these things, I feel like I'm in another world. So for me, Wonderland means a place where one feels happy, you feel like yourself, a place where you feel like spreading your wings and flying. So for a chef, his Wonderland would probably be the kitchen because he loves cooking. And anyone wants to take a guess about the Wonderland of a writer? Anyone? How about Ishrat?
I would say, well, for me, when I like to write, I like to be in a room without any noise, in my haven, I would say, and my Wonderland would be paper and pen. I still need to have the feel of pen or pencils and hear the sound that it makes on a piece of paper. I'm not much of a technology person.
Thank you, Ishrat. Actually, there's a poem by a writer which says, "My pen is my wonderland, word water in my hand. In my pen is wonder ink. Stories sing, stories think." So I would urge all members to give a little thought about their wonderland. Maybe you'll be asked about it later on in the session. So for the benefit of the guests, there will be 3 main segments: prepared speeches, table topics, and evaluation. Without further ado, I will call upon the role players to explain their role. So the first role player, when she was asked about her Wonderland, she traveled down memory lane to her childhood and a place loaded with treasures and places to hide. She could do anything there. As a kid, her Wonderland was her grandmother's house. Her grandmother was her Wonder Woman. Today, her Wonderland is the uncontrollable laughter of her kids. She says, "I get lost in them and they bring me back to the carefree world of my childhood." Any guesses who that is? It's Toastmaster Ishrat Bandhan. Ishrat, can you please share your role as grammarian with us?
Well, my role as a grammarian will be to make note of any incorrect grammar used by any speaker tonight. My role is to highlight inappropriate words or phrases, identify words used with the wrong meaning or in the wrong context. But not only that, I will also highlight exceptional word usage and phrasing. I will introduce the word of the evening, which is effulgent. I'll try to share my screen. So let's see. There you go. Effulgent is an adjective which means shining forth brilliantly and radiant. A few sentences that highlight the meaning of the word effulgent are: as Princess Elsa walked through the doors of the ballroom, she looked effulgent in her sparkling gown. Another sentence: in our neighborhood, many houses were decorated with effulgent lights for Diwali. So I'll stop the sharing. And I can see all of you here with your effulgent smiles, and I hope they linger throughout tonight's meeting. I will encourage anyone with speaking opportunities to use the word of the evening in what they say. All the best.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ishrat. The next role is that of our accountant. Her Wonderland is a beautiful room in her house where she meditates and she listens to her favorite Sufi music. It's amazing how we're finding about such amazing and interesting things about our dear friends. Indeed, meditation and music are both great ways to nourish our souls. Something very important that Toastmaster Shivani Bhatia reminded us today. Shivani, could you please share your role with us? Can you unmute yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster and fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. Good evening. Today, my role as an accounter is to note the overuse of words such as so, and, but, well, or, you know, and filler sounds, oh, use as crutch by anyone during the meeting. Best of luck. Over to you.
Thank you, Shivani. The next role is that of a timer. This person shared a few words of wisdom with me, and I think of them as valuable pieces of advice. He said, my Wonderland is not necessarily a specific place, it's inner peace of mind. Once I'm at peace, I thrive. And when there are conflicts, my wonder disappears. So I would like to share a quote with you. Set your peace of mind as your highest goal, because there is no greater wealth in this world than peace of mind. Over to you, Coach. Can you please share your role?
Hi, everyone, and welcome to some few more guests in our midst. Now, my role as the timer is very important, and I'd like to share a quote which I learned from one of my uncles. He said that time management is best management, and I'm sure that you're going to best manage your time while you speak tonight and while you evaluate, while you do your role plays, because time management is very important in whatever you do. Now, for me, to be a timer tonight, I've been trying since 6 o'clock to have some virtual background which is going to be appropriate for a timer, but it's coming quite funny. So if I show you, for example, yellow is coming like this, green is coming like this, and red is coming like this. It's sounding very, very, very funny. I'll try to fix it as we go along. If in case it doesn't work, I have a plan B. So my plan B is equally one of my my Wonderland. My Wonderland is this. Does anybody know this?
Noodles.
So I have for the guests who are not from the country, these are noodles. So these are very famous noodles in the country, Apollo noodles. So this is the red for red. We have yellow noodle, and I couldn't find the green noodle, so I got banana chips, green banana chips. So these are going to be my timing device for tonight, and I will try to sway along your Wonderland. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Biancoach. Dear effulgent Wonderlanders, we will now be moving to the first segment, which is the prepared speeches. I would like to remind you that the word of the evening is effulgent, so please make use of it. Our first speaker is Krishan Ramchan. He says that living in Wonderland is a feel-good factor combined with personal development. His Wonderland is the world of non-fiction books. Yes, through which he learns about the things that help him improve and at the same time let loose of the tensions of personal and professional goals. This speaker reminded me of a quote I would like to share with you again. The more that you read, the more things you know, the more you will learn, and the more places you will go. His evaluator is Roshan Notu, and I invite him to share the objectives of Krishan's speech with us. Roshan?
Thank you, Madam Tiami. There is no specific objectives for Krishan's speech tonight. Krishan has completed his high performance leadership project. He has been working on it for the past 3 months, if I'm not mistaken. He did present his project to the Plateau team. And now tonight, he's doing his second speech to conclude the high performance leadership project. Thank you.
Thank you,
All the
Toastmaster.
best, Krishan.
With Krishan Ramchan, online tools for Plateau Toastmasters, Wonderland or online tools for Plateau Toastmasters, Wonderland or Krishan Ramchan. Over to you.
Are you mad? Have you lost it? That was not the Cheshire Cat that was speaking to Alice. It was one of my best Toastmasters friends who was telling me, why are you doing this project? Why do you want to have this on-site, this brick and mortar club, move to online? And that conversation happened 4 years ago. 4 years ago. And it started with an idea that I ran by so many people. I had the following types of characters around me. I had the knave of heart, even the king of heart. And at some point, I had the queen of heart. And luckily, she was not looking to cut my head off. She was looking to ask me to consider, is it the right time, Christian? Do you think it's going to work with the members? Do you think this? Do you think that? Do you think? And I went, just like Alice, into the rabbit hole of deep thoughts. And I thought, and I thought. And 4 years went by. And then something happened. I found my way out of the rabbit hole. And I landed with the club's champion. And that is my first leadership lesson I'm going to share with you tonight. Because I've got 3 of them, and this is the first one. You need to have a leadership champion for any project, whether it's at Toastmasters or outside that you're doing, because you can have the best intention. You can have the most effulgent goal, but if you don't have that person giving you access to the resources, opening up the doors for you, guess what? The dream will stay the dream. And just like Alice, I would have been in Wonderland. But thank you to the club president, Jan Coach, who has been my champion for the last 3 months of this project. And we started the project. And it was quite challenging, but also enlightening, because we had 3 big goals. Number 1, to introduce online voting, a system where members could practice the voting online and go green. Number 2, to have an easy speak platform. Easy speak in the sense that to have a platform online where club members could go and schedule their speeches and look at the agendas. Again, go green. And the third goal was, guess what? We're living it right now, to go online. And it happened. All of this happened to different degrees of success. The first goal that I had was the online voting system. Right now we're using it. It's either send a vote to the Toastmaster or a ballot counter, like you're going to be requested at some point in the session, or use the Zoom polling tool that we have on the Zoom platform. And then the second goal was the Easy Speak platform. Now, why Easy Speak? Because we studied the different platforms out there, FreeToast Host, WordPress, and then Easy Speak, which seemed to be the most complete one. And the best moment I had comes with the second leadership lesson I'm going to share with you in a few moments. One of the best moments I had in this project was setting up this amazing team, because along with this leadership champion, I didn't have one ace in the hole. I've got a team of aces, 4 admins for the Easy Speak platform, and all 4 of them eager to learn, eager to come on, and eager to let me know, Christian, stay back, let me do the work. And my second leadership lesson that I learned was, at some point, even though that project is so close to your heart, you need to let go. You need to let go. You need to let others take over. You need to believe in the team that's helping you. You need to believe in the legacy. It doesn't matter whether they're new to Toastmasters. What matters for me is their attitude. And all of them, I have to say, are way better than attitude than I have. So I'm so glad I went through that experience. But as the project went by, and it started in February and it ended right now in April, just a week ago, I had this big chip on my shoulder. It was the chip of excellence, because one of the values I had to lead on this project was excellence. And at some point I realized I didn't practice it. Why? Because in my project team, because in this project, you also get to work with a direct project team. I had not one, but two powerful leaders at the club. And I shared my ideas with them. They were on board. I set up the communication channels. They were signing up. And one thing I just didn't do was ask them. You've heard the quote, ask and you shall receive. I didn't ask them like I'm asking you right now. I didn't ask them, come and help me and do this specifically. Because guess what? Just like I am a leader, they're also leaders. And leaders don't expect to have a crystal ball and identify what goals Christian has for them. Leaders expect you to voice out your demands, your questions, your requests for services clearly and maybe repeatedly. And that's where I learned. And that's my third leadership lesson. Ask and you shall receive. So my dear friends, if you're able to learn from the lessons I've shared right now, my lesson for you is this: leadership in practice is the Toastmasters is the best place where you can practice it. Leadership in practice. You're going to have that at Toastmasters. And my prayer for you is, even if you don't do a high performance leadership project, you will be doing projects outside of Toastmasters in your life, at work, even maybe if you're getting married or getting children. Those are projects. So consider using a high performance leadership framework and get people to support you and enjoy the session. Because when you do that, at some point, you will find out that unlike the cat and the Mad Hatter and the Queen in Alice in Wonderland, you won't have those people. Instead, you're going to have people who see eye to eye with you, who will tell you the way forward, who will even show you the way out and let you choose the best choice for you and for everyone involved in the project. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Christian. I would like to remind all of you that you can send your evaluations privately to Christian via private message. And also, I've just noticed that we have some guests who just arrived. Sharuna, can you please introduce yourself?
Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for having me. I'm Toastmaster Sharuna. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. So I'm Toastmaster Sharuna from Portless Toastmasters. It's a pleasure to be here today. I'm all dressed up and I've been waiting for this for a long time. Thank you for having me.
We're glad to have you with us, Sharuna. We have another guest, Adarsh. Can you please introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody. My name is Adarsh. So I've been invited here by Toastmaster Jeshta, and I'm really glad to be here. I was always curious about Toastmasters and how it goes on, and I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
We're glad to have you, Adarsh. And we have a final guest, Vlad. Can you please introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Vlad. I'm from Romania. That is somewhere in Europe, very much to the north from your country, a lot north. And because of this quarantine, I was just browsing the Easy Speak platform and I found this meeting and I said, well, here's a country I know nothing about. So maybe I'll join and see who these people are, what do they do. I'm also a Toastmaster member in my country, so.
Okay.
So far, good job.
Thank you very much. We're very happy to have you with us. We hope we're given a good impression of Mauritius so far. So we'll be moving on to our next speaker now. The next speaker is as adventurous as Alice in Wonderland. She says nothing is impossible. Her Wonderland is her new home, which she calls her dream house. It englobes all the memories she made during her travel discoveries. And her speech is just about that. It's called Travel with No Regrets. Just like they say, travel opens your heart. Our next speaker will tell us more about that. And she is Divya Bahura Jotaha. Her evaluator, Subiraj Kajada, will share the objectives of her speech with us. Subiraj, over to you.
Subiraj, you may have to unmute yourself.
Please go ahead.
Yeah. Dear Toastmaster Divya, the purpose of your project is for the member to understand the types of persuasive speeches and deliver a persuasive speech at a club meeting. So over to you.
Divya Bahura Jataha, travel with no regrets. Travel with no regrets. Divya Bahura Jataha. Over to you, Divya.
Thank you very much, TME and Subiraj. Live with no excuses and travel with no regrets. Today, I would like to speak about something that awakens our senses, and that is through traveling. Traveling for me relates to open-mindedness. It's about getting out of our daily routine, discovering new people, places, attractions, cities, and be like a tourist, hat, suitcase, and off we go to our dream destinations. People travel by car, bus, plane, boat. Mine is traveling by car. Since childhood though, I have been amazed about how big is the world. Fortunately, I share the same passion with my life partner. One day we will travel the world, he would say. My past holidays and business trips, discoveries were all effulgent and totally worth it. I remember in Ivory Coast, I drove 4 hours by car to nearly reach the Ghanaian border. Amazing, right? Until I have all my 5 senses, I would like to enjoy and appreciate all that is around me. People who travel becomes more imaginative, creative, and romantic. Have you ever wondered, why do we travel? Well, mostly to discover the taste of unknown. For me, it's about cultural immersion, values, belief. People travel to go to inspiring places like Champ de Mars, Kazela, cities like Bali, Paris, Rome, or India for many. Traveling is an adventure in itself. It changes your mindset. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not totally crazy or as mad as the Hatter. We all have bosses that would scoff at the thought of us taking 2 weeks of vacation leaves. When you imagine we have 52 weekends in a year, plan a vacation with families and friends. Travel at least 5 to 10 days a year. Guys, we have one life. Enjoy it. To my dismay though, I have been planning my Europe trip this year with much eagerness. Little did I know that my greatest obstacle will not be my boss for once, but this pandemic COVID-19. Thank God, I had not booked my tickets yet. As we say, everything that happens, happens for good. We are safe at home. As a traveler, though, the COVID-19 is making me travel the world at a click of a mouse. I tend to watch TV and explore the social media to see how my favorite destinations are getting infected day by day. The horizons of my wanderlust are getting bigger and better. I don't know for you guys, but I'm getting quite used with this new routine. Taking trip to my backyard, going for a walk with my dogs in the sugarcane fields, or enjoying the sunset on the rooftop of my house. It's more cheaper, no queuing, no jet lags, or luggage hassle. For me, it has been an experience where I'm sharing, I'm saving much more, making less expenses, no shopping except for the food stuff. Life isn't about traveling, it's about discovering new things at every steps you take. Finally, traveling changes one's perspective. It helps us get out of our comfort zone. We travel to enrich our minds, manage to explore, and unlock the worlds to our imaginations. Become a traveler. Explore the sights around you. Soak in every moment like a sponge. When we find time on weekends, days off, or even a few sick days from work, we can get the break time we so deserve. It's not just a matter of getting out of your home. It's about quality of life. Happy body, happy life. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Divya. Thank you for sharing your wanderlust as your wonderland. So it is now time for our third speech. It is said that a mother is the name for God in the lips and the hearts of children. This Toastmaster's home is her wonderland, together with her two kids. She is a dedicated mother, and her kids are her strength. She is also making a comeback after a long time to her second wonderland, which is Plateau Toastmasters. And the third speaker is Vaishali Bandhu. Her evaluator is Azra Muslan. Azra, could you please share the objectives of the speech with us? Over to you.
Thank you, Madam TME. The purpose of this project is for the member to learn or review basic research methods and present a well-organized, well-researched speech on any topic. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Azra. So, Vaishali Bandhu, her title is Silence, Please. Silence, Please, Vaishali Bandhu. Over to you, Vaishali.
Shh. Silence, please. I said, keep quiet. You girls at the back, how much do you talk? Madam Tiami, fellow Toastmasters, dear guests, this is a usual scene of my class, my wonderland. However, asking my students to keep quiet is not an issue nowadays. With online teaching, I can make full use of the mute application. During the real situation, it's really tough to make the kids keep quiet. They just keep chatting whole day. But I miss my girls. I miss being with them. Shall I tell you a secret though? Somewhere I'm relieved that these yappers won't talk my ears off. But little did I know that I have a small chatterbox at home, my 6-year-old daughter. Mom, why Chichibello, her doll, is not sleeping? Please tell her story. Please tell her why Alice followed the white rabbit. Mom this, mom that. Mom how, mom why. This goes on the whole day. She can shoot so many questions at a time. Compared to her brother, she is a real chatty Cassie. But do you know what? She's just like her mom. I talk a lot. Yes, I'm tagged as being the most talkative one in my family. Well, it depends with whom and on situation. However, during the past week, I realized that this can indeed be true. Staying 24/7 with my husband made me think either he doesn't talk much or I talk too much. This question aroused my curiosity. It motivated me to dig further and do a research. Do women talk more than men? Has this question ever struck you? For your knowledge, gentlemen, and your satisfaction, ladies, let me share with you the findings of some research to find out who is more garrulous. I made some observations, reviewed some research papers, and also researched on Google. Women tongues are like lamb tails. They are never still. How far is that true? It's a stereotype that women talk more than men. Men are often considered to be tongue-tied. Meanwhile, they think, why these women can't zip their mouths for 2 minutes? I know some of my male friends do wish to glue their wife's mouths at times. But women are not to be blamed, gentlemen. Language differences between men and women date back to prehistoric time. At that time, men hunted and had to keep silent so as not to scare away game and not to attract predators. They communicated with just few words. Meanwhile, the women had to remain in caves where they had to look after a community, a task that requires a good dose of communication and diplomacy. Studies have shown that female love of chit-chat begins at a young age. Girls learn to speak earlier and more quickly than boys. According to research made by Dr. Luen Brusendine, a famous psychiatrist, and a team from University of Maryland, women talk more than men. Can you guess how many words a woman talks in a day? 20,000 words. Yes, you hear me correct, 20,000 words. And a man, merely 7,000 words. No wonder this is a fact because a woman has to say the same thing twice to make things clearer. And if I count the replies I often get with my husband, it goes like, yes, no, maybe, okay. This won't even reach 7,000 words. The research also concluded that women have a biological advantage compared to men. When speaking, men use only one hemisphere of the brain, while women use both. This allows them to communicate more widely. Margaret McCaskey, an effulgent American researcher, carried out experiments on rats and on dead children aged 4 to 5. She found that women's brain contain more FOXP2 protein. This is known as a language protein, hence the reason why women have a lot to say. However, James Penn Becker from University of Texas found that both men and women are equal when it comes to a war of words. Both of them say around 60,000 words a day. The truth is therefore complex. Yes, men often keep quiet And yes, women like to talk. But that chatty catty construct simply isn't true. Both sexes actually talk a lot. But when it comes to that more part, it all depends on context. Women are at ease during private conversation, while men prefer talking in public and in meetings. Nevertheless, dear gorgeous ladies, the next time any man complain you're loquacious, silence him with signs. And gentlemen, if you're having trouble connecting with your wife, girlfriend, or any other woman because she says you're not willing to talk, biology might be to blame. And if she continues blah, 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 just shout out loud, silence, please. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vaishali. I think you're quite a big story here. Everyone's enjoying this speech, especially the ladies. I could see that. So moving forward, we have our fourth speaker. It's Sojan Munion Subramani. He believes that people will certainly have a profound experience when surrounded by something beautiful. He says it's all in the way you feel when you're standing under it and inside it, and that it's an experiential art. What most important is that he says it is this community for him. It's our community, Plateau Toastmasters. Thank you, Sojan, for giving us this privilege and this entitlement to be your Wonderland. Sharina Doyle is here as an interclub exchange. She will be evaluating Sojan's speech. Sharina, could you please share the objectives of Sojan's speech?
Hello again. Good to meet you, Sojan. I wish I could say something about you as a Toastmaster first, but unfortunately, this is the first time we're meeting. But I can see that you mean business because I saw you starting to get ready 5 minutes ago to put yourself in that frame of mind. So I know that this is going to be amazing. So Sojan has picked effective coaching as his pathway, and he's currently doing his level 2 speech. Tonight, his speech is going to be called Leadership in Wonderland. Sometimes leadership feels like you're falling down the rabbit hole. Over to you, Toastmaster Sojan. Let your effulgence shine on us all.
Sojan, leadership in Wonderland. Sometimes leadership feels like you're falling down the rabbit hole. Over to you, Sojan.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. So is everyone hearing me? Good? Good. So during the speech, I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself because I'm going to ask you a question. So please just prepare yourself. Okay, let's begin now. Falling down the rabbit hole. A rabbit hole, I can say that a rabbit hole is a metaphor for something that can transport you. Someone into a wonderful state or situation, maybe troubling. Well, today I'm going to talk to you about leadership. Most of the people have always told me that leadership, the leadership definition is that a lot of people say to me that it's always the ability to influence people. Well, from my point of view is that everyone has a leadership potential in them. Everyone is a leader in he or herself. Leadership means, well, historically meaning the route, way, or journey, which means to guide or to conduct, to show the way. But for me, it actually means to see one's own way, not only to show the way, but to see your own way. And for me, the first aspect is that the first person you must lead, is you. Well, before you show yourself, before you show over the way, you must discover yourself. And you're going to ask me why. Why is it important to find your way. I'll take the metaphor of a tree. Let's say we are a tree and we bear fruit. And you know, the value of a tree is by its fruit. An orange tree, an apple tree. We are attracted to those trees because of its fruit. And those fruit here is a gift. So for me, we are trees. We are leaders, we are trees, and we bear fruit. We bear this gift. You are attracted to people who give you fruit. They come to you because of your fruit. You don't even have to go to them. They come to you. I think most of you have known that we, the Plateau Toastmasters, have done the youth leadership program. And those time, how Plateau Toastmasters did really show his greatness. His leadership is when the parents come to us for our gift so that we can give them to the children. Well, for me, like I told you, a leader's job is to bear fruit. I can say that leadership is not only the ability to influence, but also the ability to inspire people, inspire others. For me, my leadership style is to look people to serve. For me, leadership, one of the second aspect, the second metaphor I'm going to tell you is like a lit candle. A lit candle in a dark room. This candle, it all comes to influence the room, not to convince the room. This lit candle just comes by itself. So my leadership is like a candle, just like a leader just want to influence the people. I, as a leader, is a lit candle. You know why? Because by touching them, one candle like me, I'm going to touch other person, other candle, inspire them, give them the gift. And the person who was light, he or she is going to lead other person, and you got a room full of light. This is my leadership, a leadership which ignites, and it's inspired. Leaders is the ability to inspire with the gift, like I told you. A third metaphor, a third aspect of mine. Leadership is just like a boat or a fast car. Let's say the car is a leader. Let's say the boat is the leader. It's not how the car or the boat is going fast. It's not that it's fast or the fastest. The fact of the leader is that he makes that boat, that vehicle, makes everyone around him or her faster. That is leadership. Taking them back. He made everyone better. Inspire those around you by your gift. Well, leadership is not talking, it's not commanding. Leadership is being like this candle, it's the light of a person. If you think your surrounding is dark, if you think those circumstances, if you think those people surrounding you are not normal, you keep on fighting with your parents, your family, well, just believe that you come on this earth to solve that kind of problem. Just like the lit candle does not have a value without darkness. Don't try to get rid of it. You are a king. You are a queen. That's what we are made of. We also have to define identity while talking about leadership. Some of you may think of identity what uniqueness, fingerprint. Well, let me tell you something. Identity doesn't have to be your uniqueness. Identity comes from the word idem, and idem means the same. The Latin word, the quality of being identical. So the word identity is to less to do with who we are, but more who you're like. hence way to identical. The identity crisis that I've read is that he doesn't know who he is, but he doesn't know who he is like. You can be a leader because of you are like, or who you are like. This is the image of God. This is the image of what God leads you here to, so that you can lead others. You are a king, and your gift, your domination. Just think about yourself. What is your domination? Michael Jackson's domination was the king of the pop. So I would like to tell you something. Unmute yourself. Just be quick, be quick. Who is the king of jungle? Pooja.
Lion.
Okay, who is the king of jungle? So we all think lion. Thank you, Pooja. So let me tell you something, guys. Lion doesn't live in jungle, because most of us quickly think that lion would live in the jungle. Lion doesn't live in jungle. Pooja, you already know that tigers is a king of jungle. So thank you for the help. Like I told you, lion doesn't listen to you. Even though you say you're the king of jungle, lion won't listen to that. He knows who he is. He knows where he is from. So just like the lion, never let anyone tell you which gift you are. Never be the copycat of someone. Find your gift and give it to others. Fellow Toastmasters, dear guests, Madam Tierney, thank you very much.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sorjan. That was indeed a very inspiring speech. Timer, can you please tell us whether everyone is eligible for voting?
We have 3 speakers who are eligible for voting. So we have Toastmaster Krishan, Toastmaster Divya, and Toastmaster Vishali. Unfortunately, Sorjan was a bit out of time and he's not eligible for voting. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Biancode. I would request all of you to vote for the best speaker via private chat to me. And in the meantime, I have some questions for you. So what is your Wonderland? And my first victim is Subiraj. And in the meantime, please privately vote for your best speaker. Thank you. Over to you, Subiraj. Subiraj? Yeah.
Hold on. Yeah. I hope you will not be disappointed if I tell you my Wonderland is Mumbai. Again, Mumbai. Because I like its busy roads, markets, and shopping malls. I like the many beautiful Bollywood type ladies that you can come across Mumbai. I like the diversity of foods and their reasonable price. I like their pani puri, also called water bowls in English. I like their local trains, especially the Western Railways, which start from Churchgate. Finally, I like the dancing bars, and I like showering beautiful ladies dancers with fake banknotes. However, without being hubris, I feel effectively proud and glad when I walk on Mumbai roads. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Subiraj. And I have another victim. Is Sumaya here?
Yes, Madam Tierney, I am here. So, is it the same question?
Yes, it is the same question.
Well, my Wonderland, this reminds me again of Alice in Wonderland, where she falls into the rabbit hole, and it is as if she's falling into the unknown. And in this unknown, her imagination has no fetters, and she can be whoever she wants, and even has a Cheshire cat as a spiritual guide. I believe that as an adult, and probably for many of us here, it is difficult to find our wonderland because we have become so grounded. We resort to facts and figures. So I am very happy. I do not know yet what my wonderland is, but I am very happy for this opportunity given by you, Pooja, because this is an amazing theme. This is helping us become children again. And at least for the time of the session, we can let our imagination know no bounds and be carefree, be effulgent, and really explore and introspect into what our wonderland can be. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Sumaya. I'm still waiting for all of your votes for the best speaker, and we'll have a final victim. I would like to ask Feza. Feza, are you here?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Same question?
Yes.
Well, when we talk about Wonderland, the only thing that came to our mind is Disneyland. I've not had the opportunity to be there. Alas, with COVID-19, this eventuality is becoming remote. However, all things grounded, we still have our imagination. And with our imagination, we can travel the world. We can be anywhere. For me, the most wonderful thing will be early in the morning, 2, 3 o'clock, wake up, and then you do a prayer, and then start meditating, and then let your mind travel. Travel to any places, in gardens, with rivers flowing, with bird chirpings, with breeze brushing the trees. I think this is Wonderland. You can imagine your Wonderland anytime, and most efficiently early in the morning when there are no disturbance around. This is my Wonderland. Early in the morning, let your mind stream. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Faisal. I'm still trying to count all the votes, but moving on to the second segment, which is table topics. Unfortunately, we do not have a table topics monster this evening. Instead, we have a very beautiful table topics fairy, Mira Chatteri. Her wonderland is where her kids are and where they sing, dance, cuddle, and enjoy together. I would like to remind you again that the word of the evening is effulgent. Table Topics Fairy will now swing her magic wand at any of you lucky victims now. Over to you, Mira.
Thank you, Madam TME. It's a pleasure indeed to be the Table Topics Fairy. Wow, never heard of that, but let me try to be one. I'm sure you are all eagerly waiting for this section as you love it. For the benefit of the guest, you randomly choose a victim, and he or she is supposed to talk on any topic without prior preparation. And that's why they all love it. So let me shoot. I tried to share my screen here. Can you see it? Can you all see it? Just give me a thumb up, okay? Yeah, good. So in Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, it is a great story. So we come to learn a lot of lessons in that. One of the lessons is that curiosity can lead to new and exciting things, but you can also be in trouble, isn't it? So my first question to Bhavish. Bhavish, are you there? Tell us, when was the last time your curiosity led yourself into trouble? Tell us when the last time your curiosity led you into trouble. Over to you, Bhavesh.
Thank you, Mira. Well, um, when was the last time my curiosity led me into trouble? Well, like you said, to be curious is good, but to be too curious can be sometimes a devastation is something bad for you. I would not agree with that, because if we weren't curious, we wouldn't be where we were today. If human were not curious enough, we would not discover new things. And we always have to be more curious and think, always question everything. As you must be aware, I am a lawyer, so my job is to be curious. If you tell me when was the last time I was curious, which led me into trouble, I think most of the time, whenever I'm curious, this leads me into trouble. Every time a client comes to seek my assistance, I have to dig for information. I have to be curious. I have to ask people, to ask police officers about his case, about what has happened. I have to inquire into things. So every time I do that, I get into trouble with police officers. Again, if you ask me when was the last time, I cannot remember the last time, because every day, every client which comes to seek for my assistance, I get into trouble. But I managed to overcome the trouble, though. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Bhavesh. So you mean curiosity doesn't lead you into trouble, but you have to be curious in your work. Thank you very much for that. So let's continue. You may recall that there is a white rabbit in Alice in the Wonderland, and Alice asks him, "Which way should I go?" And the rabbit said, "So where do you want to go?" And Alice didn't know. She said, "I don't know where to go." So the rabbit answered back, "My beautiful girl, if you don't know where you want to go, then any way should lead to the unknown destination, isn't it?" So my question is, and you may understand this question as you wish, have you ever been lost, and how did you find your way back? I call Faisal to answer this question. Have you ever been lost, and how did you find your way back? Over to you, Faisal.
Have you ever been lost, and how do you find your way back? This is quite recent. When there was a complete lockdown, I was completely lost. I lost my patience. I didn't know how to live my life. Just quite happy with our team. We don't have to go every day. Not at home, we complain. I will organize myself and get myself busy so that I don't get lost. I don't get my mind travel to where I won't like to go. Because I'm grounded at home. The more you're grounded, the more your mind travels, and more often you travel to dark areas where you don't want it to go. You don't have control on your ideas and your thoughts as you have control on your myself. If this don't for some time, I need to organize my, I need to see this opportunity and find my life. From that moment, I decided the most of each day. In the morning, go to sleep, at the time, things I will do next day. And the next day, I will sleep, I will just pick and put it on my list for the next day. Actually, I've been able to reorganize myself and find my way back. Now, the company can go on for weeks and weeks and bet for how long to go back. So this is how I was, and I find my back.
Thank you very much, Faisal. I couldn't listen well because I don't know, the quality of the sound was not so good, but I could understand because I listened the first part and the last one, so I could understand your answer. So we will move back to our third question. So the Cheshire Cat is the one who remained a friend to Alice all through the various adaptations of when he or she, he licked her wounds. When Alice was lost, he showed the way. He was the true friend to Alice. So my question is, so I'm shooting Jeshta. Jeshta, are you there?
Yes.
Who is your Cheshire Cat in your real life? Who is your Cheshire Cat in your real life? Over to you, Jeshta.
My Cheshire Cat, I've never heard that word. My Cheshire Cat is my sister. When I was a child, I used to compete with her because she is more intelligent than me in all facets, and she has a more outgoing personality. But then when we grew up, we became best friends, and even the deep secrets, or when I had to take decisions about my career, about anything, about the kind of friendships, when there was a time when I made the wrong friendship, and I did something wrong, and being younger than me, she called me in a room and then made me sit and started cuddling me, and then she started talking to me like a true friend, and then told me that the way you're behaving or the way you're talking, the kind of friendship you're doing is not good, and you should behave like this because this can make mama or papa very angry, and like this that has really touched my heart and has remained a secret between us, and from this onwards, we have developed a strong bond where I can recall when I was sick, or when she went to overseas. She has not bought anything for her, but struggled despite. There was one day before the lockdown, but despite that, despite strict laws being paused, she went to the supermarket to buy things for me, like by risking her life. So I know nobody will do that for me, and that's why she's my Cheshire Cat. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jeshta. And I know that your Cheshire Cat is just by your side tonight, and we say hello to her. Timer, do I have time for another question, or should I stop here?
You have time for one more.
I choose Narvada. Narvada is here.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so when we were kids, Narvada, we have cherished all kinds of animated cartoons. Tell us about your favorite childhood hero or heroine and why you admire him or her. Should I repeat? It's on the screen.
Okay.
Okay, over to you.
So I would say that when I was a child, I did not watch animated cartoons. Instead, I watched Bollywood movies because I was living in a extended families where I had my grandmother, grandfather, my uncle and aunties. So every day it was like Bollywood movies, old Bollywood movies. So one thing I would say that though I did not watch animated cartoons during my childhood, but I tried to live these memories right now with my kids. I have two kids. One is 6-year-old and one is 3-year-old. So now I spend my time watching cartoons with them, and lately we have been watching the Rio movie with my daughter, who was some 3 years back, I think. So one thing which reminded me about the Rio cartoon is that we should build a strong family tie with Rio, where the Rio bird tried to fall in love with the female bird. So how their love developed through their exciting adventures while going through the different steps of their trying to be free of their that is where they were trying to run away every time. So how their love developed for each other. So I think that in the different movies that we watch, we surely learn a lot. For example, in the Rio movie, I learned that love and trust is one thing that we should develop in our daily lives. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Narvada. And yeah, so even if it was not cartoon, it was at least you had a hero or heroine. So what should I say? I had a very fun time. You were very effulgent performers, and thank you all speakers. Over to you, Tiami.
Thank you to our table topics fairy. And timer, were all speakers within time, please?
Yes, they were all within the Apollo rules time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I would request all of you to send me your vote via private chat for the best table topic speaker. And I am a bit curious, by the way. Can I ask you, Narvada, in which character did you dress?
In fact, I wanted to share with you that since the topic was Wonderland, I tried to find something during the last, when you sent a message, you said that there is 10 minutes to go. That is where I tried to open my cupboard. And, I have been trying to live my Wonderland through my two daughters. I have just said in my table topic that during my childhood, I have never lived really my true childhood. So I've been living my Wonderland while trying to plan my daughter's birthdays. So this was a wig that she wore on her 5th birthday when the theme was mermaid. So we try to find everything related to the mermaid theme, where we've tried to find shells, everything related to mermaids. So that is where this was fit to her theme.
So you're Ariel, the Little Mermaid.
So every birthday was celebrated like a, if I will say, use the word effulgently, where we try to, I always, on every birthday, I try to live their wonderlands. So the planning for the birthday starts way ahead.
That's what a great mommy does. Well done to you, Narvada.
Thank you for sharing it with us, Narvada. We will now be moving to our final segment, evaluation. Please remember the purpose of evaluation is lift our members, evaluate to motivate Wonderlanders. And so we have our general evaluator, who is a very beautiful lady. She would like to think that her reality is her Wonderland, and she very rightly said that when we strive to make a good living for ourselves and our next generations, we create our own Wonderland. So Uma Nair, over to you.
Toastmaster of the evening and effulgent Toastmasters. Welcome to the best part of today's session, the general or the evaluation session. I am the general evaluator for today, as our TMA has introduced. And so far we have had a wonderful session. Everybody is excited, more like children, and living through their wishes about their wonderland. But we need to move on with our evaluations of the speakers and get to know how well we did from our role players. Let's start with the evaluations of the prepared speakers. The first would be Toastmaster Roshan Nathu to evaluate DTM Krishan's HPL presentation, the conclusion of the HPL project's presentation. Let me invite Toastmaster Roshan to give his evaluations. Toastmaster Roshan.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Krishan, first of all, let me congratulate you for your second and final speech for the High Performance Leadership Projects. With this, you complete your HPL project for today. You started your speech with some dreams, which you had 4 years back of going online, where you discuss with some Toastmasters. But unfortunately, at that time, you couldn't proceed and you couldn't take the club online. Then you came to the current situations and the leadership experience that you've lived, where you've met your leadership champions, where you had to let go, and where also you see that if you ask, you shall receive. Your leadership champions is our current president, Vian Coach, with whom you said you discussed going online, taking Plateau online. And there you had 3 perspectives: online voting, the use of the Easy Speak platform, and as we are now having meetings online. And all these help you to go green. You continued when you said that with Easy Speak, you set up a team of dedicated members, and where you mention you learn to let go, you learn to delegate and to leave a legacy. Finally, you said, ask and you shall receive. If you stay where you are, you will not receive anything. Having said that, I like all these, Christian. There are two things that I missed from your speech. What was the rationale for you going online? I didn't hear on that. And also, what are the challenges that you faced during the past 3 months from February to April, helping you go online? Have you spoke about that? That would help me understand better your project. I like your polo shirt, service and excellence. This is where you do well. You are here to serve and to excel in what you do. Congratulations again on your project and well done. Over to you, Madam Chair, General Evaluator.
Round of applause for Toastmaster Roshan's evaluation of Toastmaster Krishan's HPL project speech. Very well evaluated. He has brought up a very valid point as to I'm talking about the recommendation part of your evaluation. It's a very clear point about that, Toastmaster Krishan, and all other speakers we need as whoever will be doing the HPL project or even the DTM projects in the pathways too should be taking care of this particular point. Moving on to the second evaluation, we have Toastmaster Subiraj ready with his wonderful hat. Someone was commenting that it was a Devanand hat. Was it Subiraj?
Anyway. Divana.
Divana. Oh, all right. All set with his Divana hat and ready to evaluate Toastmaster Divya's travel with no regret speech. Over to you.
Unmute me. Unmute. Dear Everjet Toastmasters and guests, have you enjoyed that travel with Toastmaster Divya? I hope you have. Dear Toastmaster Divya, your speech title was effulgently appealing. It kept me connected with your proposal to travel with no regrets, especially when presently the whole world has regrets about their missed travels. The speech title is important to catch audience attention. Your hand gestures, visual, verbal, and body language were impressive and persuasive, and you use props like hat, bag, and your mouse, computer mouse to show how you are traveling online. You also use proper voice modulation and poses to support your romantic mood during traveling tours. You also use emotion related to COVID-19 to persuade and influence the audience about the danger of physically traveling during these unsafe days. At Plateau Toastmasters Club, we encourage members to stay at Plateau while targeting the peak of excellence. One way I would have done this would be by hiding my hand movement in monitoring the mouse while viewing my pages. And this would have avoided distracting the eye contact with the audience. As conclusion, you had a nicely crafted and properly delivered speech with an appealing title. You use persuasive language and arguments to show the advantages of traveling. You simply have to avoid showing your hand movement of the mouse so that you don't show them that you're going through the pages. Otherwise, I see in you a very effulgently promising public and private speaker. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Subiraj, for your crisp evaluation of Toastmaster Divya's speech. Yes, I found one thing more interesting, that Toastmaster Divya herself had good hand gestures. Well, that's the maximum that you can do with online sessions. You cannot do an entire body movement on a stage. But I found the evaluator had much more hand gestures, isn't it? That is really nice. Even an evaluation speech definitely requires every part of a prepared speech too. Whatever we are doing on a prepared speech is has to reflect in your evaluation speeches too. Yes, you are giving evaluations, but it should also become interesting and understandable for the audience. So this was a very what do you say, very visual evaluation rather. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Subiraj. Moving on to the third evaluation. This is the evaluator is Toastmaster Azra for evaluating Toastmaster Vaishali's speech on silence, please. Toastmaster Azra, where are you? Over to you,
Yes,
madam.
thank you. Thank you, Uma. Fellow Toastmasters and my dear Vishali, what a beautiful message. Thank you. You got me connected right away with your first few words, or should I say action? Shh, silence, please. I love the structure of your speech, a bang opening with the scenario at your Wonderland, your class with your students, and with the question, how much do you talk? And then you blended that with your own situation at home, with your kid and your husband, supporting it with researchers, with the psychiatrist and McCarthy, and ending with saying that the truth is complex. This would lead me to my second recommendation, second commendation. The fact that your project purpose was to research and present something, and you did that brilliantly. You made use of both primary and secondary research methods, primary observation with your students at home, and secondary by citing researchers. Whether it was 20,000 words for women or 7,000 words for men, or men thinking with only one part of the brain. My third commendation would be, I heard some beautiful expressions. Knowledge ever strike you? Women's tongue wags like a lamb's tail. Zips their mouth, war of words. Having said this, I have two recommendations for you. I felt you were rushing with your speech. I could not get all the information when you were talking about the prehistoric times. There are some parts which I missed, unfortunately, like the names of the researchers. I would suggest you go slowly next time. Secondly, prose, the power of pose. Do use them to let me feel the emotions you're carrying with you. For example, when you talked about women talk more than me, prose, and then you continue. Asking my student to keep quiet, I feel that your gestures would have been enough with a pause, and you should not have used the word quiet. The pause moment would have done the job brilliantly. The most in your delivery was your gestures. It was brilliantly done. Silence, please. Mom, this is what, how, and why. 24/7 husband made me think. Or zip their mouth. All in all, in summary, you did full justice to the purpose of this project. Proper structure, good usage of words and hand gestures. Just work on your pace and make use of power of pose. You will be a great speaker. Fellow Toastmasters, I cannot be silent on my Wonderland. Welcome to Old Trafford, Manchester United. Over to you, TME. G.
That's the hardcore Manchester United fan speaking. Toastmaster Azra, wonderful evaluation. You touched upon the point that I had written down for Toastmaster while sharing speech about pause. Pause is very important. The speech was very good, very well researched and presented to. It was very interesting for the audience to know about this sort of statistics. But it would have gone to a much better level if there were enough pauses, which would allow us to, laugh in between, because it was quite a hilarious research. But it also gives us time for letting it sink into our minds. The message has to come through. Right, you touched upon the right point, Toastmaster Ezra, very well evaluated. And now we move on to our guest evaluator. Now, this is something I really look forward to, because it's always wonderful to have inter-club experiences. Anyone coming from another club and we moving to some other club and giving our evaluations, and this sort of experience is very good for a club to imbibe new methods and newer thoughts, and maybe we are bored with our own same old mannerisms and methods of doing things. So let's hear from our guest evaluator, Toastmaster Sharuna Doyle from Port Louis Toastmasters Club. Where are you, Toastmaster Sharuna? She's going to evaluate Toastmaster Sorjan's speech on leadership in Wonderland, and it's a very long title. Yes. May I hand over to Toastmaster Sharuna?
Yes. A tree bearing fruit, a lit candle, and a boat carrying people. Toastmaster Sorjan, it is with a lot of humility and privilege that I get to evaluate you tonight and hopefully share a few tips of how you can push yourself further as a speaker. As you notice, one of the first things that I absolutely loved about your speech is how you used visuals. I liked how you created a speech where you addressed many of the things that generally is thought about when it comes to leadership, and you wanted to bring to it what you think about leadership. Now, leadership itself is something that really terrifies me when I have to speak about it, because so much is being said on leadership every day. It's very difficult to write something that is mesmerizing and memorable to people while bringing your personal touch. One of the most important things for me in your speech would be your use of metaphors. For me, the visuals were very vividly created and they stayed in my memory. I liked how you also talked about point 1, point 2, point 3. Yes, so other than your use of metaphor, for me, what really struck me is that you are a very powerful speaker. You use vocal variety, despite of being in front of a screen. For me, you managed to show us that, this is something that you're very connected with. You use repetition, you say, you can do that. And, things like this really make it, especially while being in front of a screen. Now, where I think you could improve is, first of all, by having a structure. In these 7 minutes or so that you're going to be speaking, every single word matters. Your speech has a lot of potential to really create magic and be memorable for years altogether in our memories. If you have structure, you can weave whatever you want to say in 7 minutes of really memorable material. So, for example, your speech title was called "Sometimes Leadership Feels Like You're Falling Down the Rabbit Hole." Where is the rabbit hole? If you show it to us, you have an added advantage because you've already introduced that idea in the beginning. So weave everything with a very smooth flow so that we feel like beginning to end, we're connected with you. My second tip that I want to give you, and this is something that's very dear to me because I learned it the hard way. As you can see, I'm somebody who speaks a lot, unfortunately. for me, the hardest thing is deciding what I want to say in a speech. I always want to say too much in a speech. And I think this is what you can work on for your next speech. In the time that you get in front of your real audience, you will always have to pick 3 or 4 ideas maximum. You have introduced a few ideas a bit late in your speech. I think that kind of takes away from the power of the other ideas. So try to avoid doing that, and plan things accordingly so that you remain memorable until the very end. So to summarize, I think great power speaker, keep that up. You showed emotions, you put in metaphors, which were great. And I think what you can improve on is really your structure and having an end message to conclude. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sharna. Very well evaluated. I'm sorry?
Sorry about the phone.
That's no worries. Happens. You brought up the point about this particular point about having a lot to speak. Yeah, most of us, we have, when we come up with a speech, and we have especially something which we are passionate about, we always want to bring out all that we know to the audience. But there is a limitation that we need to keep, because audience will not be able to imbibe everything that we may say. So this is a very valid point. Thank you, Toastmaster Sharna, for bringing it up. It's a point for everybody. It's not just Toastmaster Sorjan's speech, but it's for everyone to learn. Now let's move on to, now that we have, I'm sorry, before we move on to the next part of the evaluation section, let's hear from our timer. Timer, can you give us an idea of how we can vote?
Yeah, all the evaluators are were within time, so all
within time. All right. So, Toastmasters, this is time for voting for the evaluator. Please give a private chat vote to the TME, not me. To Pooja. Send it to Pooja. All the messages to Pooja. Now, moving on, I would like to hear from our counter, Shivani. How did we all fare? How many R's and ums and ers and repeated words? Over to you, Toastmaster Shivani.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Pooja, Madam TME, I must admit, you dazzled the session by your effulgent idea and taking initiative to address all of us and in this time of confinement. Really, I really appreciate your idea of doing this. And my report tonight as an encounter is here. Uma, Uma, you used 12 times. Subiraj, 6 times. Vishali, once. Surjan, twice. Sumaya, you used so 2 times. Meera, 4 times. Bhavish, you used 3 times. Jeshta, 4 times. Narmada, 15 times. But Narmada, I must tell you, you really looked effulgent in your dazzling, radiant pink hair. Thank you. Over to you, Madam.
Great report that shows listening skills of our Toastmaster Shivani. And it's not an easy task to listen to every speech and write down how many times Uma said. Well, I can make a song of it, right? Let's move on to our effulgent. Is it effulgent or is it effulgent? I don't know. Probably our wordmaster grammarian is going to give us a long shot of what happened during this session. Toastmaster Ishrat, our standard grammarian, and tonight's special grammarian. Over to you.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Well, you will know about that word of the evening in a minute. I have to say, I have been served beautifully with the word of the evening, not just tonight, but prior to the to today's meeting, in our WhatsApp group, there has been an effulgence of the word of effulgent use of the word of the evening. The word of the evening is pronounced effulgent. I've heard a couple of times that it's been pronounced as effulgent, but if you watch the phonemic way I've written under the word of the evening, it's effulgent. The word has been used by a number of speakers, by Pooja, Krishan, Divya, Vishali, Subiraj, Shivani, Sharana, Narvada, Sumaya, and you, my dear Uma. Well done. My grammarian's report will be threefold from there on. I will start by a few pronunciation mistakes, especially stress laid on words. So a few words that have been pronounced incorrectly are obstacle. It's obstacle instead of obstacle. Development and develop instead. And now that word is very recurrent. Instead of development and develop. Comfort zone should be comfort. Effulgent, once again, instead of effulgent. And imagine instead of imagine. So the stress is laid on the second syllable, imagine. Next will be a few correctness of words. So generally when a word has only one syllable, we say the superlative and the comparative is usually cheaper, cheapest. So it's not more, cheaper. So the correct way of saying it is cheaper. Then every step you take instead of every steps. Has this question ever striked you? So it should be struck. The past tense of strike, the verb to strike is struck. And every client which comes, it should be every client who comes. Now there has been an effulgent nature in the expressions and words that have been used by all the speakers throughout the session. There has been an effervescence of adjectives, very vivid use of adjectives, of a quote that I will unveil to you, and it's full sentence. So the expressions and words used are yappers, shoot questions. I could literally see you with a gun and shooting questions to everyone. Chatty Cathy, which means someone who enjoys talking a lot. Women's tongues are like lamb tails. I could see that tail of the lamb just wagging crazily, just like the woman's tongue would move incessantly. Glue their mouths, tongue tight, introspect. I love that word, introspect. Have a chip on my shoulder, which is a beautiful expression. The meaning ain't all that great, but it's a beautiful expression, which means an act of holding a grudge or grievance, or it can also mean a person who thinks too much of himself or herself. Open-mindedness, we often use the word open-minded as an adjective, but very rarely as a noun, and it was pronounced beautifully, open-mindedness. The Hatter, which referred to the Wonderland theme in the Hatter in Alice in Wonderland. Well done for that. And I loved this quote, travel opens your heart. It's a quote by Paula Banfeld, and the full quote is, travel opens your heart, broadens your mind, and fills your life with stories to tell. Horizons of my wanderlust awakens our senses. The lit candle does not have any value without darkness. I thought that's such a beautiful image. And sway her magic wand and weave everything. So this was a beautiful use of very imagey adjectives and expressions. So Madam General Evaluator, this is the end of my report as grammarian. Over to you.
Thank you for the detailed report on the grammar part of our speakers and all the speakers that we had tonight. I'm sure what you have taught us today will take us through a long way. Coming to the timer. Now, timer is, we know him as a very, a person who is very prepared for things to come. And it just shows on his timer skills too today. He had a plan B. He checked out the plan A. He knew that he was going to look very bad on screen if the green light came on and the red light came on. So immediately he switched on to the plan B. He hatched up a plan B. And it shows his commitment and preparedness for taking up that role. President and today's timer, Toastmaster Van Coach, please give us the report for today's timing. All the speakers' timing, sorry.
Thank you, General Evaluator Uma. It was fun doing timing. I haven't been doing timing for quite a long time, and it was fun doing it online with my noodles next to me, and eventually my virtual noodles as well. Yeah, so this is my Wonderland. I will always stick to Apollo noodles and not shifting to any other kind of noodles going around. Now, the speakers today, except for Sojan, you were all the speakers actually, all the speakers, all the evaluators, all the role players, we have all been within time. I have not evaluated the grammarian because we all want to listen to what the grammarian has to say. And she was a bit over time, but we have learned some more from what she had to share with us today. But apart from that, everyone was within time. So speaker number 1, Krishan, you took 6 minutes 58 seconds. Divya, you took 6 minutes 27 seconds. Vishali, 6 minutes 43 seconds. Sojan, you were out of time. You took 8 minutes and 3 seconds. I felt somehow that you did not see me waving the noodles, but eventually be mindful of your time next time. The table topics, Bhavish, you took 1 minute and 23 seconds. Faisal, 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Jesta, 2 minutes and 16 seconds. And Narvada, 2 minutes and 24 seconds. Evaluators, Roshan Nutu, 3 minutes and 28 seconds. Subiraj, 2 minutes and 13 seconds. Azra, 3 minutes and 7 seconds. And Sharuna, 3 minutes and 29 seconds. So you're all within time. Over to you, G.
Thank you for the detailed report, Toastmaster Van Coach, and appreciate the way you adapted your noodles onto the, making it a virtual noodles. Because he found that showing it onto the screen wasn't good enough, so immediately he made that his background, which really worked out. Right. All right. Let's now come to my report as the general evaluator's comments. We had a wonderful session today. Pooja, Toastmaster Pooja, I think you deserve a huge round of applause. First, can the host unmute everybody? I want to hear this noise. I miss this noise when you're in Bhavan. It's always Pooja, this was a wonderful topic that you have taken up. It just allowed us to look into us, find out what really is our Wonderland, and come up with the fantasy part of it or the reality part of it. And it also allowed the table topics master and even the speakers to adapt it to their sections, to the speeches. A couple of speeches took up that theme itself, and of course our table topic master also used the theme very well. Toastmaster Pooja has also given us a very good reason to dress up in this lockdown situation, as Toastmaster Sumaya was saying. Finally we have a reason to look good on screen at least, and a reason to be excited. Thank you, Toastmaster Pooja. I hope the upcoming Toastmasters, TMEs are going to give us more reasons to be happy about, to be part of the evening session. Now, I have already gone through the evaluations just after the evaluators have spoken up. So I will move on to our Toastmaster, Meera, who was our table topics master today. Great topics, and she interpreted the theme very well. She didn't actually talk about that, I mean, make us talk about the theme. Normally it is seen that the theme of Wonderland itself, what is your Wonderland, or something like that, will keep on recurring. No, she made it more interesting because she took characters and themes out of that theme itself, the theme of Wonderland itself, and twisted her questions and asked us something else. And it was, even then, it was simple enough for all the speakers. We saw that all the speakers spoke very well. I only have one recommendation to Toastmaster Meera. Maybe it is better to read out the topic a couple of times and then call the speaker, because table topics is also a section of the Toastmasters meeting where you improve your listening skills. So you need to listen to the topic and start thinking. So this is preparing for a table topic, some emergency table topic. So it allows every member to think about the topic, and then when someone else is called, then there is a sigh of relief. But we need to improve that listening skill. So always read the topic a couple of times and then call the speaker. Then something else I had written down. Okay, there is one point that I wanted to raise. Today, yes, everyone was excited about the theme and how people were looking on screen. I found that there was a lot of chat going on. Every time there is a speaker speaking, there's this thing popping up. I think if we were at the Bhavana or at during a physical meeting, I think all of us would keep quiet and listen, isn't it? So I think we need to keep that digital silence here. If you have something to say, put it on a private chat to that particular person so that it doesn't pop up on everyone's screen. Or you can do it at the end of the session, because when somebody is speaking, if there's so much of popping up, it's a distraction for the speaker, and it's disrespectful, I would say. Let's not do that. Somebody is preparing and trying to convey a speech here, or convey a message here. So let's listen to them. We'll have to keep that silence, please, for digital chats, right? I think that's the only point of recommendation that I have as a general evaluator. We started right on time, and but I think we are running out of late. So I think I need to shut down my evaluation session and back to our TME, wonderful TME.
Thank you, Toastmaster Uma. And I would now invite the president for the business session. But before that, can I please have the votes again for the best evaluator? My screen got freezed and I logged out. So I have young coach, Sumaya and Faisal and Sudiraj's votes. And for the rest of you, can you please send me your votes for the best evaluator again? And over to you, young coach.
Thank you, Toastmaster Pooja. Once again, a big bravo to Toastmaster Pooja for organizing the event tonight. We are all in this Wonderland for the time being, before we go into confined land in about 10 minutes afterwards. So I won't be long in my business session. I just have a few items I want to relate. First, like I said last time, the national conference is going to be postponed next year. It's the tendency is towards next year from most of the clubs on the island. But together with Christian and Bob and some other members, we are trying to see if we can have an online online conference this year. It's still in discussion stage, and we will get back to you once we have further details on that one. Secondly, is we are also planning to have an inter-island event with Plateau Financial and a club in Réunion Island and a club in Madagascar. We are working on that one, and maybe next session or session after you'll get more details on. Newsletter, we have had our third e-newsletter. Now Toastmaster Azra is leading the 4th edition of the newsletter. If any one of you wants to contribute to the e-newsletter for the 4th edition, please reach out to Toastmaster Azra, who will be pleased to welcome you on board to have your articles or your contribution in whatever form you think you may contribute. And the 4th session is 4th item is the next session. The next session is going to be next Tuesday, and it's going to be Toastmastered by Toastmaster Shivani, and Shivani will reach out to you will reach out to you on Easy Speak, and please grab your roles on Easy Speak as we go along. And I'm glad to notice that our online online presence on Easy Speak has invited in a way David from the UK, whom I'll look forward to hear from his feedback later on. And we had also Vlad, who also found us on Easy Speak. So as we move along on Easy Speak, I think we're going to grow our network in another way. That's it for me for my business session. Over to you, Toastmaster Pooja.
Thank you, Bianco. So as a conclusion to this theme, I would like to add a little something. So do you realize, Toastmasters, that no matter how, if you're rich or poor, or you're in a good mood or in a bad mood, you live in a big mansion or a hut, each day we are all blessed with 1,000 gifts from Mother Nature. The sun rises for each and every one of us in the same way. The waves crash against the shore, glittering from the sun rays. The soft breezes sweep off our faces, birds sing to us, stars light up our sky, and the flowers will ooze their fragrance to each and every one of us. So isn't the earth our wonderland? So one message I'd like to convey to you this evening is take every moment from your life to enjoy these simple little things. Breathe the fresh air, smell the flowers, look at the sky, look at the moon. You might catch a shooting star to make a wish. In short, let yourself be carried away by the earth's magic. You will definitely feel rejuvenated. And lastly, my thanks goes to all the role players and all the speakers and everyone who's made an effort to dress up. So I'd like to ask who actually made the effort to dress up. So I know that I did. Bhavish, can you tell us what you're wearing?
It's a crown, and here's my sword. I'm the prince. You see?
Oh.
Yeah.
So I can see Ishrat as well. Can you tell us, please?
Yes, I'm wearing a flowery headband. I got dressed at the very last minute. For I was fasting. I broke my fast, and I came with one of my girls' flowery headbands. I'm a flower princess.
Okay. And who else has been dressing up? Sharuna as well, right?
Yeah. I had worn a jacket that I had bought, and when I asked my husband how he found the dress, he told me that he thought it was beautiful because the design was like the Aladdin carpet, and I took it off because it was really hot in this. And it's
oh wow!
Got fringe. So this is my Aladdin carpet. I'm not in Wonderland, a bit more in Mide Nuit. I forgot the English version of Mide Nuit.
Okay. And who else? Can you please wave at me? Who else has been dressing up?
I was invited by Sumaya. She didn't tell me it was an option. She just said you have to. She was like, if you want to attend, you have to. So I'm dressed up by my niece today who insisted on doing this, but then she went a bit overboard. So I was like, yeah, thank you. I'm good. You can go now.
And who else? Who else? Can you wave at me?
Yeah, I wore hat.
Yes, I saw that.
And a dress, a glitter dress. That's it.
Okay. So thank you everyone who's made an effort tonight. I see Vaishali as well, right?
Yeah, I'm having a princess crown.
Okay. Thank you everyone for dressing up. You're very small on my screen, so I won't notice. So if anyone else has been dressing up, please can you wave at me? Yes, I saw Shrek. So thank you everyone. Thank you for your effort and for your presence here tonight. So lastly, I would like to hear from the guests. So do we have any feedback? Can we hear from David?
I've just sent a message out. That really is what I would support from tonight. Terrific. I think really now with lockdown, it's a bit like what I would say is Toastmaster roulette. You spin the wheel, you click on a Zoom. This morning I was in Australia and there were 4 people, myself included. I've zoomed along a bit further and we've got 20 odd people. And it really is very, very interesting the way that all clubs work. I was blown away by especially 2 people tonight. I was blown away by the grammarian, absolutely incredible, the best one I've heard probably for a long, long time, and the general evaluator. It really shows what general evaluation is all about. And yourself, of course, the way that you managed it, the way that you've come up with Wonderland, the way that even in the virtual world, you've been encouraging people to dress up, to take part, to be recognized. Absolutely blown away. Thank you very much. Probably next week I'll drop in again if I'm not too busy, but thank you.
And you're most welcome. Each week you can join us on Plateau Toastmasters. Thank you very much for your feedback, David. We have another guest. So Sharuna, would you like to give us some feedback, please?
I almost forgot I was a guest because I see a lot of familiar faces. And I've been, to be honest, I've been wanting to attend one of your club meetings, I think for almost 3 years now. And the thing is that our club meets on Tuesdays as well. And I think it is almost the same. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's been the same Tuesday. Something always came up. And I think I will join David in saying that this lockdown has indeed been a blessing in so many ways, because I think in the last week I've attended a meeting with the club in Saudi Arabia, and it's so incredible because it really fast tracks everything that we want to learn from each other. Because as a Toastmaster, all the international speakers that I've seen were mostly on YouTube, and to get to see them speak live with everything that happens in a live session has been incredible. And thank you very much for having me. I feel very privileged to be invited to your club meeting. I liked it a lot. I loved listening to Ishrat. I think I learned so much, and all of us, even in terms of pronunciation, in terms of using a word that I didn't know before. And I think that's the beauty of Toastmasters, to keep learning every day. And I actually don't feel like it's a lockdown, because I feel like we always are connected with everybody, and it's not just 2-3 people, it's really a very big family all over the world. And I think for me, that's the spirit of Toastmasters. And when I look at all of you, I can feel it. I mean, you all are such fun members. The Apple Noodles was very original, very funny, but at the same time, very much connecting. And I love the vibe of your club as well. I look forward to attending many more clubs. And thank you for the role as well. Very rusty evaluator, but thanks a lot. You give me opportunity to practice.
Thank you for your feedback, Sharuna, and we were all very happy to have you and David amongst us this evening. So now we get to the final part, the awards, and I've had a crazy time trying to deal with all the votes. I think we have to look for a better way to manage all this voting. So drum rolls. For the best speaker, it's Vaishali. Congratulations, Vaishali.
Thank you, everyone.
And secondly, for table topics, it's the winner is Jeshta. Congratulations, Jeshta.
Thank you.
And finally, for evaluator, it was very close between Sharuna and Azra won the best evaluator. So congratulations, Azra.
Thank you.
So as promised, there would be two prizes for, firstly, most mesmerizing speeches, and secondly, the one who's made the most effort to dress up. I am a bit confused, but I really liked Narvada's wig, so I'm going to give this to you, Narvada, so congratulations for that. And for the most mesmerizing speech, I've had a lot of people up for this one, but I'll go with Divya, because she was very enthusiastic with her speech about traveling. And so my two prizes go to you, and you get them when we meet next time. So that's all from me. And I was very happy to be your TME tonight. I hope I was up to your expectations. I would like to thank all my speakers and role players, and especially Azra for helping me with everything. Thank you very much. And Bianca also for pushing me to take up new roles and to be more creative. And thank you to each and every one of you for making the effort, for being here tonight. Thank you so much, and I now hand over to the president to end the session.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Pooja, and thank you so much everyone for making it tonight. It's been a fantastic night, a wonderful night, a Wonderland night, and I don't have anything much to say now. We have all been speaking tonight, and if any one of you wants to share anything, please go ahead before we close the session tonight. I think Shivani wants to say something.
Yes, I have one question for Ishrat.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Are you there, Ishrat? Yes. Actually, like, Uma asked for effulgent, whether it's effulgent or effulgent. If I'm not wrong, I read somewhere, whenever, no, like most of the time, I mentioned on the chat as well, most of the time, when E follows the G, it becomes
for research training in genomic
like aging,
working in Professor Yuri Frank's lab. She's now looking at how an immortal animal repairs.
What was that?
I don't know what it was. For instance,
so like for like, okay,
I'll just take one example of. I don't know about. I'm not sure about the how shall I put it?
Like, can I put some, like, can I give some examples?
I can
agenda.
Agenda.
Agenda, agent, urgent, generator, gens, and there are many more if we see. So that's why I feel, so whenever we follow, E follows the, G follows the E, it becomes J. So it's like this. So,
well, I don't know whether there's there's a rule for it. I've never checked it out, but I will surely check it out.
I think because in my children pronunciation book in India, I read it somewhere, so I wanted to check it with you.
Thank you for pinpointing that, Shivani. I know there are very in French you have words, for instance, manger, mangeons, with the G and the E. There are very specific rules for the G and the E. I don't know whether that applies in English too, but I will check it out.
I think there are exceptions. Otherwise, we would have said general evaluator, or So I think there must be some exceptions somewhere.
Yeah, there are exceptions, but as I mentioned,
not for, I don't think for effulgent, because it is effulgent.
It is.
It is effulgent. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's followed. G follows the E. That's why I mentioned most of the time it is like this. Yes, but there are always exceptions.
But even if you look at the phonemic, when I shared the screen about how to, what was the word of the evening? If you look at the phonemic,
yes,
there was J-U-N-T, so it is junt.
Yes, junt.
So I don't think it applies. I'm sure that it does not apply to this word, but I have to look for other words.
Okay, there was one point I wanted to mention during general evaluation. That is something I learned last weekend when I was watching an online contest back in Oman. Our friends were having a contest, so me and my husband were part of it. So in that, what they were doing is whenever the speaker is about to speak and that person is, what is it called? Spotlighted. The speaker is spotlighted. The speaker is asked, is given some time to choose the timer and pin the timer. I think that way you will not be missing the timing signs. I think Sarjan, did you miss to see the timer coming up, showing the signs and all that? So because we are all so used to seeing the timing device, unless you see it, or rather, if you see it, we'll start reducing the words to be said and cut down here and there and somehow finish it on time. So can we have this habit of pinning the speaker should pin the video of the timer before you start speaking. If we can put that habit, I think that would be really good. It was a very wonderful contest, and it went flawless because they had already practiced this thing, the speaker and all that. And all the speakers were very conscious about the contest.
Yes, Krishan.
But for example, if you pin that timer and somebody's sharing the...
I'm sorry to interject. We're still recording. Do you want to capture all this in the recording, or you want to stop the recording?